Ladies and gentlemen, we have come back here again. We are the podcast that is talking about the Mandalorian. We are the nerds because this podcast is for you. This podcast is for nerds. We want to talk about a series about a green baby and the interplanetary hot potato that captivated all of you and kept the streaming service alive. As it's for nerds, it's me and Calvin here talking about The Mandalorian. A year after everyone else has talked about The Mandalorian.
Yeah, that's a good point. I really only picked it because I realized in the Borderlands review that I didn't recommend anything. And I realized I never finished season 1. And about a week ago, they announced season 2 is coming out in about a month and a half. And I thought, we could discuss this. I think it's a worthy discussion, but yeah, it is definitely not timely.
But it's perfect timing for me because I hadn't seen it. Because as you all know, I don't jump on hype trains. If there's a hype train coming, I'm letting that bastard leave the station.
That's right.
I don't care how great it is. I don't care who's like everyone. If I have more than 5 people telling me from different groups, have you seen this show? I'm not watching the show.
Yeah.
I want to be a part of the initial craze. That's not my thing. But now that I have watched it, this was great.
Well, I'm glad you liked it. Yeah, so I remember this was like the one thing they had for Disney Plus. And I was like, all right, well, it's going to be 8 episodes. I'll do the free trial for a month. That gets me through half the season, and then I'll pay for another month. And about, I don't know, I want to say like 3 or 4 episodes in, I was like, I don't know if I like this. And I actually stopped watching it and just came back to it about a month ago. And I really enjoyed it, actually. So yeah, I think we'll do like a quickie like score like we always do, and then we'll get into the spoiler stuff. I thought the show was really cool in that a lot of shows bring in different directors for each episode, but it doesn't amount to much. Like the style of the show kind of stays consistent. But I feel like each director brought their own unique style to the episodes, and I really enjoyed that. I don't think a ton, without spoiling, I don't think a ton happened until like the end. And that was kind of frustrating. But overall, I'd give this like a 4 out of 5, I think.
I would have to agree right there with that, actually. Just because of what you said. That was an accurate assessment, honestly. I don't think I could have said that better myself. Don't know. So I had a lot of questions going into this. I grew up watching Star Wars, or rather the first, I can't even say the first trilogy. I grew up watching episode 4, 5, and 6. That was my bread and butter. I didn't watch 1, 2, and 3 because there was no point. And the newest ones I just haven't really gotten into, more so just because I just didn't have much interest in doing so. But the lore has always interested me, and especially when they introduce the lore of characters or themes that you don't really get to dive deep into, which I think was awesome that The Mandalorian was able to do this, because this is something you hear about. You knew about Boba and Jango, and if you read any of the books that happened, like the fan series and also not the fan series, there are a lot of cool fan fictions about like the Star Wars universe, and then a lot of books that were confirmed or denied to be canon. And honestly, I watched a whole 3-hour thing once on YouTube that just kind of went through the whole entire timeline of Star Wars, because I was like, there's so much I'm missing that I don't know about, and I'm annoyed right now. So I think, this is a great series because they were able to take a property or a character similar to Marvel, well, ironically now, where people didn't know much about it. There's a lot of mystique, and able to just put a storyline on it that makes sense. And Disney found out the smart way of doing things, but they used the anime trick. Do you know what the anime trick is?
I do not.
You use a cute mascot or animal to get people into your series.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. It's certainly a marketing tool. Funny enough, I went to Galaxy's Edge at Disney on Christmas last year, and I fully expected like all the Baby Yoda memes were like full steam ahead at this point, and I was like, oh, they're going to be selling Baby Yoda toys and T-shirts and stuff. They didn't have any of that shit, and I was so shocked. It was such a wasted opportunity.
Huh, that is weird, actually.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I totally agree. I think the child is a great tool to engage the audience. And I think they're still like able to cover some heavy stuff, while also kind of maintaining the kid show feel with the child.
Oh yeah, I mean, Baby Yoda, which is we know is not the real name, but everyone's running with it. It's fine. It's Pikachu. Like Pokemon, no one cares about Pokemon as a whole, but you see Pikachu, and you know it. It's not called, the movie wasn't called Ryan Reynolds didn't sign up to play Detective Pokemon. He signed up to play Pikachu.
Yeah.
That's what Baby Yoda is to the series. And that's what honestly it did what we talked about in earlier episodes. It brought people who normally would not watch or give a damn about Star Wars to sit down with their significant other who wants to watch Star Wars because, oh my God, Baby Yoda's so cute. They don't care about the Mandalorian. They don't care about guns, these weird bug creatures walking around, space operas. They don't care about that. But
oh no, yeah, for sure.
He's a cat.
Yeah, and I guess that's kind of spoilers, but it's in the first episode, and I don't think if you haven't watched the show, you've definitely seen the Baby Yoda meme. So
yeah, I mean,
not really spoilers.
I think, you know what I will say though, what surprised me, because I had seen the memes before watching the show, I didn't realize what Baby Yoda's significance to the story was. I will say that.
Yeah. So if you had to give it a rating, what would you give it, Zach? And we'll get into spoilers.
Oh, still 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5. Okay, sorry, I didn't know if you had said that or not, so I wanted to double check. Okay,
there's still I would agree, like pacing gets a little funky sometimes, but you know, when you try to like draw people in and like expand something and make it a thing, it's gonna happen. You know, you're kind of going from scratch. Like,
oh, for sure. Yeah. So let's get into spoiler territory. We never explained what the show is, but I think it's, you know, I think most people kind of understand. There's this bounty hunter, ends up finding the target, which is this Baby Yoda. He calls it the child. And he's supposed to bring it to the collector, which is a great fucking character. It's Werner Herzog. He's a very famous German director. And you know, he ends up getting chased all across the galaxy, trying to protect this kid. And as the story goes on, you learn that the child has these kind of special powers, ends up protecting Mando quite a bit. So yeah, what were some of your favorite episodes or moments from the show?
You know, I will say too that I like how the show bounces back and forth between like the Mandalorians, like, I don't want to spoil his name yet, between the Mandalorians like reputation for being just like a stone cold like badass, and like showing that emotional side where he's able to like want to protect the kid, you know, because there's times where they even have a code where you're not supposed to ask questions about the client or anything like that, and you're only supposed to be like cold, get the job done, get your money, get out. And he makes a lot of decisions that kind of go against that, and it kind of gives flashbacks to his like where he was attacked and growing up and things like that. And then you actually just get a lot of like insight into like the whole like Mandalorian bounty hunter like ethos. Like, I never knew much about like the armor or anything like that, or like how it was special. You see Boba Fett fall into a wormhole pit like in episode 3, and that's pretty much all I knew about that guy.
Yeah. Funny enough, Boba Fett specifically is not a Mandalorian. And neither is Jango Fett technically.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so they are considered. So Jango Fett is obviously the it's seen as the father of Boba Fett, but he's actually a clone. And Jango Fett, as seen by the Mandalorians, is just a bounty hunter that stole some armor from a real Mandalorian. But that's, it introduces everybody to Mandalorians and Mandalore. My only real experience with the Mandalorians is, did you play the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic games?
I did not.
Oh, okay, they're stellar games, but that was my introduction really to like the Mandalore, the planet Mandalore, and the people that live there and their creed. So I was very excited for this show when they announced it, and I didn't realize how stacked the cast was before I watched it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, there's some heavy hitters on this show. I mean, Taika Waititi plays that droid. I can't remember its name. That ends up being the nurse for the child.
Yeah, it's he has like I forgot.
IG-11.
Yes.
Yeah. He gets reprogrammed by Quill. I think Quill? He says Quill, I think, right?
It's Quill.
Yeah. Which, I mean, that character is super interesting too.
Yeah, I mean, it's Nick Nolte.
Yeah, which is amazing. Carl Weathers, absolute legend. Pedro Pascal, which we don't really see him though.
I was stoked to see Bill Burr.
Yeah, for sure. I knew he was a fan of Star Wars, and I was curious if he was ever going to end up in a piece of their media. I thought that was super cool. He basically played himself.
That's the best part about it.
Yeah, it really is. Jake Cannavale, who's Bobby Cannavale's son, plays Toro. He's like this bounty hunter that ends up teaming up with Mando at one point and then tries to steal the child from him. That was one of my favorite episodes.
See, honestly, the ability to like room clear, I think, was one of the craziest things for me in this show, and how they did it very well. And I like the graphic design too, because so in the storyline, this technically takes place 5 years after Luke made everyone forget that he kissed his sister and they kind of use some of the same like feel like his 70s, like how like when he gets shocked and thrown off the side of the scrap ship, the way the electricity flows is still very reminiscent of how they did it in the 70s. So they use the same kind of feel and light effects with the graphics and with the special effects to make it seem like it's still in that timeline, which I thought was awesome. Yeah,
that was super cool. I was very impressed. I know there was a point where they were considering making the child animated. Mm-hmm. It's a puppet, and I guess Werner Herzog really pushed to make the child a puppet. There were some of the directors mentioned that he fought pretty hard for that, which I thought was a great choice because you still get that emotion. Like, I still feel like when stuff happens to the child, there are scenes where the child gets taken. I get nervous, and when the child emotes, there's that scene. Probably simultaneously, one of my favorite and least favorite episodes was episode 4, when he flies to that planet. And kind of protects everybody from the invaders, the ATSTs and stuff. And that's where he meets that other female mercenary, Cara Dune. But there's that scene where the child's drinking tea. He like walks up to Mando after he gets his ass kicked by Cara.
That's the constant meme. If no one knows what we're talking about, that's the meme you look for. It's Baby Yoda holding a cup.
Which I feel like is a nod to the Kermit the Frog tea drinking meme.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
That's what it feels like because the meme is like, oh, that's not really any of my business, and Baby Yoda just kind of walks up and is drinking the tea or whatever it is, the broth. I thought that was great.
I didn't even think about that. One thing I will say that kind of surprised me is, okay. This is going to sound super messed up. The Mandalorian looks a lot softer than I thought he would with his mask off.
Oh yeah, are you familiar with Pedro Pascal's work? Have you seen him before in other stuff?
I have not.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting. I feel like they cast him for his voice and less so his face.
And it's not a shot on him. He's still a good looking dude. It wasn't like, oh, what the hell is this guy? I was just like expecting something very different.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
With the,
Yeah, I was thinking something closer to what they had with Django because you got to see his face in episode 2.
I was thinking, honestly, I was expecting like Sierra 117 or something, you know, just like buzz cut, couple scars, but like the long hair threw me off so hard. Not a bad. It just like I was just not expecting. I'm thinking, man, you're wearing that helmet the whole time. You've got to have a sweaty head. I would be buzz cut. I'm like, bro, what kind of conditioner do you use under there?
You got something working for you. Did you think he was ever going to show his face?
Honestly, no. Like I didn't think, because you know how, I mean, not, I guess it's not common, but I was thinking more of the Batman thing, right? Where they'll keep having people try to take it off, but it won't be something that it was revealed. So I figured if it did happen, it definitely wouldn't happen this season. So I was a little surprised when it did. But I like how they did it. When he goes, you know, no living thing's ever seen my face. And IG-11's like, well, check it out, bro. I'm not living. So what you got? And that's like a whole thing on AI and if they're able to live and take over for us, because they can, they will. Just wait for it to happen. It'll be
yeah.
Again.
And it'll be voiced by Taika Waititi, which I'm super fine with. Continuing on with like the look of the show, have you watched the Disney Gallery Disney Plus series that they have?
Who mentioned this yesterday, and I was like, oh, I am not gonna have time to watch that.
Yeah, they're much shorter. It's 8 episodes, and they kind of cover all the different aspects of creating the show. So they interview the directors. They get into some of the technology they used, and one of the coolest things I saw was, and I guess they did a lot of this with. So Jon Favreau is like the head of the show. He's like the showrunner. Wrote the show. He pushed for kind of going away from like the blue screen green screen thing, and they actually have this I think it's at ILM. They have this massive screen where they've taken set photos you know, in the Middle East or wherever it is, and then they project that onto their big screen, and then they have the actors acting in that environment. I think it makes it easier because the backgrounds are shot in camera, that it's easier to manipulate things digitally, like special effects wise. I just thought that was super cool.
No, that's awesome. That's really awesome. And like, because like even right now, so for those of you watching on YouTube, Calvin is showing parts of the gallery series we're talking about, and the actor's name, and I can't remember his name right now, I apologize. Even with the mustache, it looks more like what I expect with the helmet off and just the shorter hair.
Oh, the guy with the cowboy hat or Carl Weathers?
No. Mando.
Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah.
With the shorter hair and the mustache, that was more of what I would expect. But the long hair threw me off so badly. I don't know what I was thinking, what I was expecting. I was like, this is just different. I was like, oh, that's, huh.
So you watched this all in one go, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. Were there any episodes where you felt like there was a lull, or were there moments where you're like, I don't know if I'm going to get through this?
Not really, because the first trilogy is like that.
Yeah.
Like I don't watch A New Hope ever because I know that's just kind of the build-up, and you really only need to watch the last 15 minutes of A New Hope to really, you see him take the Force shot, and then, you know, Obi-Wan dies, you know, to Vader.
Spoilers.
Not a spoiler. It's been 30 years. What's wrong with you? No, I think it made me just go with the, I don't know, it felt normal to this kind of story, I guess.
Yeah.
It felt like what I expect from a Star Wars thing. It just takes a while to build it up, and then it kind of kicks off. So I don't think it really like felt any differently, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. There were some really interesting episodes that were clearly, you know, you could tell that the director kind of had their little touch on it. going back to the Sanctuary episode. So that one was directed by Bryce Dallas Howard, who is the daughter of Ron Howard. I don't know if you've watched Arrested Development.
I watched that, Jurassic Park. Yeah.
Finish the thought, Zach.
I have finished the thought.
You're leaving it there?
Well, we all kind of see what happens if you date a Howard in Arrested Development. So,
fair enough.
They want to sing along with the rest of Ron Howard's family.
That's true.
I would if it was like an actual thing, but if that's how they actually do things, I don't know if I'd ever want to do that. I say I like hot dogs and call it a day.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so that episode was super interesting to me, I guess, because it's clearly an homage to the Kurosawa movie Seven Samurai, which is this 50s. What's up?
I didn't even think of it that way, but yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a nod to Kurosawa, and so that movie basically has the same plot as this episode. There's a samurai that enters this small town, this small village, and they get raided by bandits, and the samurai kind of saves them. And we kind of see that in this episode. Mando flies to this planet, I think because if I remember right, he was being attacked.
Yeah.
He was being chased, right?
Because he took the package back, which was the child, and that's like against the code, so everybody was after him for that point.
Yeah, I think there was a bounty on his head, so he was kind of free reign. Anyone could go for him.
Yeah, the tracker, once he took the package back, the tracker that was on the package originally got reactivated, and so everyone was like, oh, look at this huge bounty just popped back up, and then they went after him because he had the package. So
yeah, so basically he goes to that village. Cara Dune, who's a kind of a central character to the show, that's where we meet her. And you know, the child gets to spend some time with the local kids, and then the
I'm sorry, it's just funny to say the child, and when you hear, oh yeah, the child and local kids, but he's like 40 years older than the rest of them.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Is there a moment in the show where they mention? I looked it up. Apparently, Baby Yoda is 50, but I don't know. Did they ever mention that? Did they explicitly say that?
So it's weird because it's when the contract was first given to Mando, he's like, well, where's the tracker puck? He's like, well, there isn't a tracker puck, but your target is, I think they give a description. They say he's 50 years old and like some other stuff too. So when Mando finds him, he goes like, how the hell is this person 50? And I think one of the other, I think the bounty droid is like, oh, well, you know, different races age at different paces or something like that. I did not mean for that to rhyme, but it did.
That was great. Yeah, so that episode was interesting. I think it kind of turned me off at first. I was like, this feels like really unoriginal, but it's clearly an homage, and I think it's fun. I guess it felt like there hadn't been much action up until this point, and I was like 4 episodes in, and I was getting kind of over it, I guess. And you know, there is the fight with the Empire basically comes with ATSTs and attacks the village, but I don't know, maybe it just wasn't the action I was looking for. Like I was hoping for more episode 1 type action where he's trying to get the package and IG-11 is helping him. Like that action was super cool to me.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a trope. Like it's an homage, but it's been beaten to hell, right? I mean, that's basically how Kung Fu Hustle is too, just in a different way. Like if the samurai was a bit of a scumbag and a thief and wanted to like not help people at first, but had a good heart and decided to do it. But it's been done a million times, I think. So I get how you would be like, okay, well, no, this is boring. But I personally am stoked to see that this kind of storytelling that we missed out in episodes 1, 2, and 3 have come back, since these were heavily influenced by samurai stories in the first place. So it's kind of good to see, like, at least that side of, the Star Wars space opera getting back to its roots, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely feels like a real Western.
Yeah. And I guess if you have like, I imagine trying to pitch that, right? Like, hey, here's the storyline for this episode. And if you just go with some super obscure samurai story, people are like, okay, cool. Like, why the hell do we care about that? Or I've never heard of that. You go, oh, Seven Samurai. Oh, I've heard of Seven Samurai. Oh, of course. And then, even if they've never heard of it, they'll, you know who you are. You people, you've heard of things you've never heard of what the hell we're talking about. But you'll be the ones to say, oh, I saw that. All 30 episodes. What do you know? Only 12 episodes came out in 1975. We know who you are. You are not one of us.
Dang.
But for everybody else, it's just, I feel like you have some things are compromises. You have to pitch it in a boardroom. This is one of those things. Like, it's super tropey, right? You teach the villagers how to fight, and they fight off an imperial nation. Okay. Sure. They were raided. If it was the actual empire, they just would have dropped a walker on it. They would have worried about an at trying to like do anything. So, it's one of those things. It's a fun, heartwarming story where you have the what is it? The battle of can I live in peace, or the darkness will always follow me. I must be on the road. Versus, no, please stay here. Stay with me, please. You can be a better man. You can be safe here. You can protect us. No one can ever understand me. I must keep moving. The child and I must leave this planet. We must continue on. No, please, Mando, stay here. Take off your helmet. I can't take off my helmet, but I do. No, Mando, please, come on. Just take the helmet off, dude. I will not do that. Hey, you need that. It's whatever.
Give this man an Emmy, please. Somebody. That was wonderful. I will say, like, I was really happy that he didn't end up staying. I thought maybe they would go that route. But then, like, so one of the things I do like is, like, we get these little cast of characters each episode that we're introduced to, but they don't really stick around a lot of the time. Like Bill Burr's character was super cool. That episode I really enjoyed.
Dude, that episode had so many twists.
Yeah, there was so much going on.
I love the end of that, how he got them back for trying to throw him inside that cell. Oh, man.
Yeah, and I was like, I wonder, because it's like it's a Disney property now. Like, are they gonna play it safe because kids are gonna be watching it, or are they gonna go pretty dark with it? And they definitely went the dark route. Oh yeah, they definitely partied on the dark side, and I was so stoked to see that. Plus too, like, that episode started off to me a little. It's the way you felt about the Seven Samurai episode is how I felt about this one. Because I thought, okay, cool, it's a heist thing. And normally I love heist things, but this one felt really obvious at first. So I was super stoked to see all the different twists and turns that made me kind of go, oh man, I did not expect that. Because, heists, they're heisty. You know what's going to happen, but you don't really know how it's going to happen. Yeah, it definitely felt similar to, like, not Catch Me If You Can, the Ocean's movies, right. Similar to that, yeah.
But then when people started getting shot, I was like, oh. One thing I thought was interesting, actually, is especially, like, going, since you mentioned the darker route, they really kind of emphasized more so than not that when you see people get shot in Star Wars movies, they are pretty much dying.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of crazy to me at the last episode when he gets shot during the big fight. I was like, and it was like halfway through the episode, and I was thinking, oh, maybe he's dead, and we're gonna follow Kara, and she's gonna take care of the child for the rest of this episode, and then they'll tease season 2 where her and the child are moving somewhere.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that. Especially there's a scene that, for those of you who are watching the YouTube, earlier on in the stream, where you see stormtrooper helmets with spikes through them. And I don't know about you, but even with a spike, a helmet will not stay the way it was perfectly perpendicular to the ground unless there's a head inside of it. So,
that is a good point. Holy shit.
Yeah. So I just thought that was an interesting way of seeing it because, it's a galactic war. People died. And, like, you knew that. You knew the Death Star exploded, people died and were thrown into the vacuum of space, and some who were living were sucked out violently and exploded because, the pressure dropped and everything. But you didn't see that.
Yeah, I feel like the first time we saw that was, like, I don't know, for me it was episode 3 when Anakin kills Dooku.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess episode 4 Vader kills Obi-Wan, but it's like he just kind of like falls into a mass of clothes.
He gets like, yeah, he just disappears.
Yeah, with episode 3, I mean, like, Anakin took 2 lightsabers and cut Dooku's head off, and you see Dooku's head roll on the floor, and I was like, holy shit, this is dark.
I guess that would hit less to me because, like, if I'm remembering this correctly, Dooku is the one who, like, he cut his arms off first, right?
No, he's Christopher Lee from the Lord of the Rings. He's the one with the like bent lightsaber, like the handles that like bends at a 45.
Right. Okay. Never mind. Getting my characters confused. It's been so long since I've chosen to ignore most of those movies about them. But there was a character where they fight him and they cut like both of his arms off, and the guy's like, "Oh wow, that sucks." Well,
oh, you're right. They do cut his arms off first.
Okay, so that is him?
Yeah, you're totally right. Yep.
So I was just like, wait, he's just kind of standing there talking to them like it's all normal. Like, this just seems like puppetry now.
Yeah, he's like, shouldn't he be like screaming in pain?
Yeah, he's like, oops, well, it automatically cauterized everything, so I don't feel any pain from this. I'm like, wait, that's not how that works. You're talking, dude. Like,
you can stop the bleeding, but it still hurts.
There's a scene even where like Obi-Wan gets like kind of crushed by like a falling scaffolding, and it just looks like a bag of rice being pushed across the floor with a broom. And I was like, this is...
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm not watching this. This is pretty much giving me all I need to know. This is fine.
Yeah. There were characters with that said, there were characters I enjoyed and was fine kind of not seeing them again. Like, oh, they've gone on to do, whatever it is they did. Bill Burr's dead. But there's certainly characters I wish had come back. Like I'm glad we got, more of the client, Grief was great. Carl Weathers is an awesome actor. I even really enjoyed Cara Dune. But there were like a few characters that I would have liked to see more of, like, Amy Sedaris's character was great. She was that docking bay attendant that repaired his ship and watched the child.
Yeah, she's hilarious in just not just hilarious, but I like her whenever she pops up. I don't know if you watch Broad City at all, but whenever she popped up in that show, it was hilarious.
Oh yeah, I love her in that. She was great in Jennifer's Body too. But she's kind of had a long history with Jon Favreau, which is kind of why I'm guessing that she got the role, which is super cool. So I think Jon Favreau has a lot of pull in Hollywood, so it must be why we got a lot of these like big celebrities appearing, just doing like one episode things. But I think the most frustrating for me is it would have been nice if we had gotten more of Giancarlo Esposito's character, Moff Gideon. I feel like we did not get enough of him in the show, and I think he's such a good bad guy in everything he does. Yeah. I think I would have liked to see more of him throughout to kind of provide this like tension, like there's the in episode tension with whatever's happening, but then to know there's like this background of like you are being tracked by this like crazy MFer. And I think I would have enjoyed that. So
that's true. I mean, he was a lot of like episode 4 and 5, or sorry, I'm way off my episodes. I watched it one go. He definitely was like the unseen threat for most of the episodes, for most of the series until towards the end. And you're right. Like if they had like, I don't know, like maybe this is a little cliche, but quick cut torture scenes or quick cut scenes of him just like, when he just looks at the camera and you look like, oh my God, this dude is like up to something.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, if anyone watched Breaking Bad, I mean, he's one of the best like bad guys in TV show history. Yeah. Just from that role, but especially this, and it's like it's kind of a bummer we only got him for 2 episodes. I mean, really only 1. I just think it would have been cool. Like, I mean, I think I think the client is an interesting character, but just to be him being chased by like these no-name bounty hunters, I would have liked like a face to put to who's really running things. I guess there's probably a reason that they waited until the end to know that there's like this bigger plot happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you excited about season 2 for this reason then?
Yeah, so I thought we kind of wrap this episode up kind of discussing season 2. So yeah, it's coming out October 30th. I think they're doing week to week again. They have confirmed that he will be in season 2. I'm curious to what extent, because it is confirmed that Mando will not be in season 2.
Oh, that's really?
Yeah, at least the one we know. Yeah. So the confirmed characters are it's the actor Michael Biehn is playing an unnamed bounty hunter. Rosario Dawson is playing Ahsoka Tano, who was Anakin's old Padawan, and escaped and left before he killed all the little children in episode 3. Tamura Morrison's returning, who he played Jango Fett, I think, in the original or in the new trilogy. He's playing Boba Fett, so we will have Boba Fett this season. Katie Sackhoff is playing Bo-Katan Kryze, who is the former ruler of Mandalore and leader of a Mandalorian group called the Night Owls. And then Timothy Oliphant is playing a former slave who acquired Boba Fett's armor, who's apparently in the novels. So those are the characters we have confirmed. So we don't even know if we're gonna have Mando.
They're gonna try to bring in the wider spectrum of dedicated Star Wars fans now, because Ahsoka is someone who didn't appear, or rather her status was unconfirmed for a long time following Order 66.
Right, yeah, and don't think we were ever shown her in the actual like live action movies, to my knowledge.
I don't think so. Like I think
she was strictly in I thought Rebels and Clone Wars.
To my knowledge, yeah.
Yeah, so very curious. I'm excited. Hopefully we get some lightsaber action, since there was the big tease at the end of episode 8 that Giancarlo's character Moff has a dark saber, which I thought was super cool. I didn't really know much about it. I had to look it up for sure.
Yeah, there's so many. So the lore has expanded, or rather, I can't even say the lore has expanded. I can say that there were more Jedi groups that I was unaware of growing up, because I didn't read any of the books. So, like, I didn't know that they were like the gray Jedi, who were just like, look, we're in the middle, and those are the dudes I want to party with, because you know that's just reality for me in general. But yeah, I'm actually curious to see how that plays out as well. And also, one thing I don't think was mentioned much. So we know the Empire fell, but obviously it's still a threat and a force. I don't know how. I mean, because the Empire, we never really get a scope, even from the original movies, how vast the Empire's control actually is. Like, we know Han talks about flying outside of galaxy or galactic territory, but it doesn't really entail how big it actually, the grasp is, you know?
Yeah. I mean, as long as we avoid, I'm so over it. And it feels like every piece of Star Wars media has to go to some desert planet. I am looking forward to sanctuary type locations. And I hope we get more of that in season 2.
You know what's going to happen in season 2 to get people watching, right?
The first episode will be on Tatooine or some shit.
I'm saying it'll be Baby Yoda meets Baby Chewie.
That's great. I would be fine with that. I would love to see a baby Wookiee. I'm assuming they basically look like a
Sharpay.
Yeah, or like a shitty Ewok or something. I don't know. Do you think do you think the child will play a significant role in season 2?
I feel like there's a possibility that the child could not, but I also feel like you have a risk of losing that initial external viewership that made it so popular in the first place.
Yeah.
So they could totally take the child out, but they'd be losing the people who were waiting to see what Baby Yoda does next.
Yeah, agreed. Do you have like a hope for if they do keep the child? What do you hope to see? Like, do you want to learn more? Because we don't really know anything about Yoda's race. Like, do you want to learn more about that stuff, or do you want to see kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy style, like Groot stuff, like watching the child grow up and expand its powers type stuff?
I mean, I don't really think we'll see the child grow up. It's 50 years and it still looks like it could fit in my backpack.
That's a good point. I mean, we're not seeing, maybe there's a huge leap in time between these seasons.
That's true. I mean, I know that this show is 5 years after the Galactic Fall, but 25 years before the latest group of Star Wars movies we have. So that would make Baby Yoda 75, and we don't know if there's a growth spurt at some point, and we didn't see him in the movies, so he's probably not a part of that era or time. I don't know. There's so many different ways to go about that one. I'm actually more curious about, I guess, the Yoda people, because they are naturally born with the midichlorians that give them the Force.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No, I'm assuming because this kid's and like he's stopping things that are. He's an ant. He's a cat, ant, and a Pikachu rolled into one, colored green, and give him a cup of tea. He's able to size and throw them, and there's a lot. I think they left a lot of mystery on the table to explore with that, and I'm curious about that. Actually,
yeah, I would love to see more of. It would be cool. Like if we do get Mando back for this season, I think it'd be cool to learn more about its people, or I doubt we'll go to the planet that it's from. Although I would enjoy that, I just feel like there's probably too high of expectations that just wouldn't be met. To see like a bunch of Baby Yodas or something like that, or to see how they live.
I guess it's one of those things too where we know the package where he got picked up from, but we don't know where the package came from, because if there's a baby one, then there's got to be more.
No, for sure. Yeah, unless it's like some, I don't know, like genetically built thing, but I don't think that that's the case.
I mean, we can always go back to the Dagobah system and go to Yoda's shitty swamp planet.
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, I'm curious if that's like going to play a role, like if they go back there at all.
I feel like they're just making things up in the 70s. They could say whatever the hell they wanted to. And now people are like, oh, well, what's the approximate distance between Hoth and the Dagobah? I want to know, like, how far you have to go. No. Stop it.
Oh, there are definitely fans like that. And apparently it's so Dave Filoni is kind of like one of the big directors for this. And I guess he's that kind of like Star Wars fan. Like he's the one that people would go to and ask questions like that, and he would have the answer to it.
But though I would, for people who have gone and read the books and people who get that deep into it and have loved it for like 20 years, first of all, thank you, because I will never do that.
Yeah.
Of all, like, there's more information there than I would ever care to really know. One thing I want to talk about, because I love armor and I love weaponry. I thought the steel that was the currency used to pay Mando and the whole like controversy behind that was super cool.
Yeah, I didn't know about that at all. I think that might be new, at least in a live action form. Yeah, I thought that stuff was really cool, and I really liked it's the last episode, that armorer,
dude,
that Mandalorian woman that fights off all the people down in the what do they call that? Their like underground tunnel system that they have.
Yeah, like it was kind of a hideout, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, her character was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The scene, that pile of armor, though, that was nuts.
Oh, that was so dark. I did not see that. And then when she like walked out, I was like, oh, I wonder if she had something to do with this.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell is this? And it's that implied darkness, right? It's like, oh, you saw these people here, they're ready to fight, but then that Mandalorians never remove their armor. Yeah, you see a pile of armor, and that's just as effective as a pile of bodies left in the corner.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, some cool stuff is some of the directors are going to be returning for this season, so that's exciting. And we're also getting some new directors, including Robert Rodriguez.
Really?
Yeah, which I'm like, the thought of a horror Star Wars episode focused on Mandalorians really excites me. So I hope that's what they're giving him. I don't know if that's the case, but I think if you're bringing in Robert Rodriguez, you're going to let him kind of, do some horrific stuff.
If they do that, there is I'm going to misquote this so terribly right now, and I apologize, but last Star Wars game, The Fallen Order, they go to the planet that Darth Maul is from, and on his planet, they're mystics and wizards and basically spiritualists that tap into dark magic. And just the sequence in the game was where you're being chased by these spirits that are like, hold up, their bodies have been sacrificed to like these plants or something, but they are dead, being constantly fed off of, and their spirits are allowed to wander and protect the planet. And this is the craziest damn sequence. So
whoa,
there's tons of things that they could go to a horror aspect with Star Wars that I'm very curious to see how that episode gets directed.
Yeah, me too. And you've just got me really excited. Now I need to play that game.
It's a really good game.
Cool.
The kid from the redhead kid. I'm terrible with names right now. I apologize.
Oh, Cameron Monaghan from Shameless, right?
Oh, yep.
Yeah, I forgot. He's the main character, and his name's Calvin or Cal, right?
I think it's Calvin for the full one.
Okay, all right, I'll take it. I can be a Jedi. That'd be cool.
Worth a shot. A little meta.
Yeah, I need to play that. So yeah, any other thoughts before we kind of wrap things up here?
I'm honestly curious to see how season 2 plays out, like you were, especially considering the cast changes and how they're planning on executing that, because that traditionally is kind of like TV show suicide, dude.
Yeah, well, so it's back in April they confirmed they're already in pre-production on season 3, so there are at least 2 more seasons ahead of us. I'm with you. I'm curious to see where they take this.
And it's one of those things too where you'll have people who will check it out because it's supposed to be different, because they wanted it to be different because they didn't like the first season as much, and then people who like the first season who want to like the direction of the second season, which is pretty consistent with everything. I think you'll have people who are definitely curious to see darn it, I forgot her name, Rosario Dawson's character and how she plays out, because
Ahsoka.
Yeah, because in the storyline, Order 66 happened. Let's see, that was so her character basically disappeared for 60 years at this point, I think.
Yeah, well, what is let me look up the time period between episode 3 and episode 4, or episode 7, I guess, right?
Mandalorian between Order 66, because that's when she disappeared. That's right. We're doing it live.
We're doing it live. So between episodes 3 and episode 6, oh, come on, you're killing me, Cora. It's a lot of years. I don't.
Well, because Order 66 happened, and that was the end of episode 3, and so we're going to episode 6, so 5 years after that. So that's got to be like 30 or 40 years, right?
Yeah, so between episodes 3 and 4 is 19, 4 and 5 is 3, 5 and 6 is between 1 to 3 years, and between 6 and 7 is 30.
Ooh.
So yeah, she's going to be like middle-aged at this point.
That's bad. Not as far as I thought then.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Because what race is she? She's Twi'lek, right?
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Togruta is her race. I don't know how they age, so maybe it's not too bad.
I was thinking about, well, yeah, because you're right, because Anakin, his kids were born, he went all emo and did all that crying stuff, and that was. So Luke grew up, he was 19. Yeah, okay, so 25 years I think that's what that came to, right? 26 years?
Yeah.
Okay, so not as bad as I thought. I was thinking so much further down the line than that, I think.
I mean, it's still a not insignificant amount of time, but I think they picked the right person, Rosario Dawson. She's a great actress, and I'm curious to see what she does with the role.
Wrong person.
She's a what?
He's never the wrong person.
Oh, true. Well, she also dated Eric Andre, which must have been interesting. So the new season comes out soon, so I just had that on my brain.
I didn't know that, but that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it was an interesting couple. Yeah, so that was our review of The Mandalorian. Let us know what you thought. Give us a comment on Instagram or Twitter or YouTube, any of those. We also check our email, which is thispodis4nerds@gmail.com. I check that, maybe once a week. So
I actually do have a question for you, Calvin.
Before we end the episode, though, do you have what we're gonna review next?
I was thinking about this long and hard. We went to the space operas. We went through so many different things, but I teased what we're going to review next in this show. Can you remember what it was?
I can't.
Oh, that's too bad. I'm going to remind you all right now. You can't move forward before we figure this out. What is another term for not being able to move forward, Calvin? It's a state that you can be in.
It's a state you can be in?
Yes.
Paralyzed?
Close, but more stuck. Like your development was stuck.
Trapped, inhibited.
Incorrect. You were in a state of arrested development.
Oh. Awesome. All right, which season are we reviewing? Or just talking about the show as a whole?
Let's do let's do season 1.
Okay, cool. I'm down. I'm excited.
The shift between seasons 3 and 4, and that deserves its own separate thing.
Oh yeah, that could be its own episode.
That's a whole takedown of a thing. So now, question for you.
Okay.
What would you be your? Okay, first of all, it's a hard question to answer, so I expect you to take your time.
Okay.
We have 4 minutes. What kind of lightsaber would you have? What configuration, style, and what color would you use?
That's actually a fantastic question. I planned on doing this at Disney. They have the lightsaber, build your own lightsaber thing. And I've given it some thought. Part of me wants to be a dual wielder. Have 2 single blades. I like the idea of the Mando or the Darth Maul having the single saber or single handle double saber. I like that too. But I think if I had to pick one, I would do the Kylo Ren style, which is like gritty and kind of broken, where he's got the exhaust pipes out the side. I think I would have that, and my color would definitely be purple. Purple's my favorite color.
Right on. That's definitely a super Like Kylo Ren's saber was definitely one of the more wild ones that I've seen, especially if you're playing the game where you get to customize your saber with so many different types and styles. I was not anticipating like that you could do so many different things with different sabers, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah. What about you? What's your saber choice?
I would actually have to go with Midnight Blue.
Ooh,
Single saber, single-handed.
a man of class. I appreciate that.
Because I can still use a gun that way too.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's a thing I'd like to see. I think it'd be cool to see Ahsoka using a lightsaber and a blaster at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the things too. Like, I don't want to spoil any of the game for you, so I won't. But being able to like, I would imagine there were people who, after the 66 Order, didn't want to be their, Jedi heritage to be known, so they'd have to like adopt using a different kind of weapon and style to not make it so obvious.
Yeah, agreed.
So yeah,
right.
Wondered about that and how that would like play out.
Yeah, well, hopefully we get some lightsaber action in season 2. So join us. That would be. So this episode's coming out September 17th. So join us October 1st when we discuss season 1 of Arrested Development. And make sure you join us next week for our regular episode.
Do you want to sing our song that we practiced for our outro?
Did we have a song?
Dude, we practiced the song.
Did we?
Yeah.
I'll let you start and then I'll just kind of come in.
I don't remember the song, dude.
I mean...
Kidding, there's no song. This podcast is for nerds and listening, and however you take it on your media. We really appreciate you.